thing that it does is groan.
Groans, lets out the N-word, and then goes back to sleep.
Actually, that's not too far off. Mine is the N-word thing. It's pretty accurate. I
No,
wake up, I groan, I say shit or fuck this, and then just go back
Roll
to
back
bed.
to bed.
I mean, I would hope minus the N-word.
No, he's quoting and I was gonna say WNBA.
The women's national basketball.
He's quoting the WNBA when he says the N-word.
I mean, like, they might say it. I don't like.
Context is key in that situation.
I wouldn't know because I don't watch it. For all I know, they could say it all the time.
That would be crazy if that was the case.
And like nobody knows
Because nobody watches women's
nobody
basketball.
watches it. Oh man.
But Liam would know because that's what he's quoting, the WNBA.
Yeah, I'm quoting the WNBA.
Oh man.
That was a Family Guy joke. Nobody watches the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
WNBA.
No,
and
yeah,
everything.
it
So
is.
I'm proud that we've evolved.
But like
to this point,
that is true though.
to where we're at.
Nobody watches women's sports. Like no one watched the women's like soccer, and then like the American team won the World Cup, and no one gave a shit, which was so sad.
Women's soccer is better than men's soccer.
I'm sure it is because they
women
actually win.
They also
They
actually
won.
beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
It's great.
women are violent.
Instead of the dudes like falling over and pretending to be injured and everything,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
like a running gag with like soccer
Yeah.
and everything.
Friends by default. Women will fuck you up. That's our tagline.
And we're back.
Me and Liam just die for like the 20 seconds, and then we turn back on.
Yeah, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
You just shut down.
Yeah.
Hello, listeners. My name is Brooks Vernon. I am the co-creator and co-host of this show, which is called Friends by Default. The point of this show is creating a friendly environment where we can discuss the big questions, the big things that have puzzled people for literally eons and are actually very easy to answer, and everyone else but us is dumb. But we do have a bit of a change in the format today. It's pretty exciting. This is going to be like kind of our test run of this thing that we're doing. But first
Yeah.
off, let's
on 2 episodes in a row.
yeah. Well,
Crazy.
well, you weren't on the last one, so
Oh yeah, that's right. You weren't on 14.
Oh, was it on 14? Oh, that's
no.
right.
no, you were on
Oh.
you were unlucky 13, which we lost.
The Lost World of 13.
That's right.
Yeah, which will probably resurface sometime in the future.
Damn
But let's real quick introduce our regulars first. To my right is
You remember me. Come on. Come on.
Starts with the Yaskovich.
Joe.
Yes, it's me, Joe Yaskovich.
Ew, I wouldn't be your friend if your name was Joe
I work at
Yaskovich.
Staples. And by work at Staples, I smoke my vape outside of a Staples and never go in.
It's very good to have you back. We've missed you dearly.
I missed you dearly as well.
We were hoping to be able to like have 13 be our big comeback from the hiatus and have everybody on board, but that didn't happen.
Did not.
And then to my left is my good friend.
Hold on.
Oh, he's doing
all
the phone.
right,
He's got to
okay.
take a phone call.
What's he doing? No phones while
What?
recording,
What?
Liam.
What are you doing?
Just give me a second.
Oh, is he doing a bit?
I was literally texting, but I decided to turn
okay.
it into a
Okay,
little
cool.
bit-
That's,
a little bit of a bit. Just a little bit of a bit.
You gonna introduce yourself?
My name is Liam Wallace. I'm your co-host, co-creator, and sound engineer, and your sweet lamb boy.
Yes. And then what's special about this episode is that our other normal co-creator, co-host is not here,
Yeah.
that being Zach Teal. In its place, we have a very special guest, our very good friend. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Zach Teal.
Hey!
Wait a minute.
I don't like
Something's.
Oh!
I was gonna go a route of like a fun wait a minute, but then you made it very real.
it. Don't tell him I said that.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't record any of this.
Yeah.
No, I'm Bradley, your friendly neighborhood Bradley White.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our good friend Bradley White, who we've all known for a bit of time now. And
Yeah,
everything.
you may remember me from those 2 episodes I was on. The ones where I talked very little.
Yeah. We for those fans who know the deep cuts, the previous show, Brooks and Zach 100 Years, we had a lot of our friends do different guest spots on it, and one of them was Bradley. Who,
I was the worst one.
Hey, I did a guest spot on that show.
You did, and then you never left. You're like, I like this.
I was like, you guys want to have me on normally? And you're like, nah. And I'm like,
He's just
too bad.
He's just not leaving Brooks's house.
I food keeps going missing. Like,
I lived there for months.
Find chairs randomly stacked up.
you became my third dog.
And I've been fighting for that position for fucking years, and this dude just waltz right in.
You've sent in at least 4
That's
applications.
about 5.
You got to be
I
forceful.
That last one's still in the mail.
Oh.
Well, basically, what we're doing with this episode is we're trying out a format of, if we're missing one of the hosts, of possibly bringing on different guest people, where they bring a topic that they want to talk about, and we sort of theme everything around that. So the first half of the episode is going to be pretty similar, where we're going to have, we're going to answer questions kind of like adjacent to whatever topic that the person brings, and then we do an ad related to the topic. And then for the second half, where normally we do like a hypothetical improv type of thing, instead it's going to be more of an interview / conversational type of thing, and we're seeing how this works. This is like our test pilot of it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Bradley, what is the topic that you wanted to talk about today?
Well, I thought, hey, let's talk about Halo. Solely because Brooks and I were playing Halo yesterday. That was all I was thinking about at the time.
We were playing Halo yesterday.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Good topic.
It's sort of like when it's like that scene from like movies and stuff when like the person's like trying to answer a question and they look around the room at the objects in the room, and he
He's
just
scrambling for time.
He just sees Halo right there and everything, and he's like, Halo. And I'm like, all right.
Kaiser Soze it.
He did Kaiser Soze it.
Hey, I did it.
I made a reference, guys.
Yeah.
To a movie that I've never seen.
And to an actor we're not allowed to like anymore.
By a director who's in the exact same boat.
Oh, right.
Man, I like that movie. Too bad I can't see it again.
I can never watch it ever again.
So, real quick before we get into the first question, we still have a few minutes to just kind of catch up. How's everybody's week been?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. That's the
Yeah.
first time I'm saying that in a long time, but
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Mine's been busy,
Yeah?
just as usual. Cleaning my room as well. And you've seen it. That takes a lot of work.
I saw... Okay, hang on.
It looks like
Listeners.
where Harrison Ford lives in 2049.
Pretty much.
Well, I don't agree with that.
You're right. There's not
Because-
enough alcohol bottles.
Because
piled up.
in Blade Runner 2049, the characters were able to walk around in the space. Listeners, I need you to understand something. Josh Yaskovich, man of the world, apple of my eye. When we finished production on on the short film I was making, and we were taking various props and items that he owned that we used as set decorations, when I helped him take it back to his house, he brought me into his room. And you know how what the movie version of like a dump looks like, where there's like just like trash and scrap metal like packed up, but still like walkways for the characters and the camera to be able to move through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, every aspect about my life is a movie. Don't you understand that?
Why does it have to be the bad aspects?
Well, because, all right, so when he came in, it was still kind of set up from On the Rocks, and we have all this furniture that my mom got that's not going in her room, so it's got to be sideways up on the floor downstairs where I live.
I was gonna say, why can't you get like good things from movies, like character development or Tom Hanks.
I developed, and I am Tom Hanks. Look at me. Tell me I'm not Tom Hanks right now.
You know I can't do that.
In Castaway, where he pulls out his tooth and lives alone and is very sad. Tell me I'm not that Tom Hanks.
You're that Tom Hanks.
But no, yeah. It doesn't look like what you saw anymore. It looks closer to what On the Rocks looked like with the two
Okay,
chairs.
good. Because that is a livable space.
Yeah.
That is just like a little like.
Oh, it's livable. Not livable well. Not saying I'm happy.
Okay, let's get into the first question and everything. So the first question that we have today that we're going to be answering is, given the future scenario in which humanity discovers space travel and starts like setting out into space, exploring the stars and such, if we were to come across an alien species, do you think they will be friendly or hostile or something else? That's our first Halo adjacent question, and I'm going to open up the floor to the boys.
Okay, I was seeing if you were done there. Jesus, I have my answer.
Look, I need
already.
to.
I was seeing if you were done there.
I've got an answer.
I
want to
too
talk
have
now.
an answer. So I'm also going to talk now.
This crosstalk is fucking abysmal.
You're right, and that's why I'll say my thing first. No, Liam, go.
All right, I say that they'll be feral.
Feral.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we won't know.
It won't
we
be like
discover-
developed.
Yeah, if we discover them before they discover us, they're probably like, if you think about it, we could be the most advanced species in existence.
Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying the white man's burden and shit. But I'm saying,
You see, I was going to say that if that really says some shit about existence, if we're the most advanced.
oh,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
But okay.
What a weight on our back.
Okay, so there's this thinking of like, if there was an alien species capable of faster than light travel, they would have discovered us by now, and thus that means that like we're the most advanced species or whatever. But like I think that's kind of dumb thinking, because
I'm saying
if you
it
look,
could.
I know that you could, but if you look at space, it's pretty fucking big. Liam, you know that I love you. Don't be offended by that.
My thinking's not dumb.
No, I'm not saying your thinking is dumb. I'm
Yeah, and
saying
stop calling him ugly.
what I'm saying is space is really fucking big, and it does seem like there could be a possibility of two species, including us, about on the same level, running into each other like at like a random planet, and both ones going like, "Oh shit," or for the aliens it'd be glorb flarb or something like that.
Wow, that's racist.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
racist.
racist in the future, dude, or speciesist or whatever.
I admit that was not a good joke.
Now we're not allowed to be Brooks's friend anymore.
You got me. No, I'll just do what I always do when I say bad jokes. Edit them out.
You're gonna
edit them out. Edit them out, so I always look the best.
That is so true. Well, here's my answer, and you're both right, and you're both wrong, but you're really just both right. What I think is what will most likely happen is I think we'll probably do some sort of probe or lander mission to the moon of Europa, and I think it is very possible that we will find like life that is either very, very reminiscent to life that exists at the bottom of the ocean, like stuff that lives by those like fucking volcanic vents and shit, or we'll find life that was very similar to the God, I always mix up these eras of time. Cambrian period, where there weren't dinosaurs yet, but we were all still living in the ocean and being weird fucking creatures.
So
Very Prometheus, like H.G. Geiger shit, whatever.
H.R. Geiger.
H.R. Geiger, my bad.
So you're thinking that early stage of evolution.
yeah, like we'll probably find something no more developed than a shark.
What makes you think that? Like, what makes you think that? Like, there's not. It would be that early stage of development.
Well, I say this only because from our understanding, and this is just like hypothetical thinking. From our understanding, is that there's like a bit of layer in Europa's like ice crust, and then where like the crust of the moon begins, and it has like a lot of like volcanic action happening, so it heats up that middle part. I don't really know if it's quite possible there's already advanced life on Europa. It doesn't really show anything like that. If there were, I think we'd probably get like radio signals from there by now or something. So because of that, if there is life, it could range. It literally could range anywhere, because we don't even know how long these vents have been doing this. This could be a recent thing. It could have been like it's already been doing this for like millions of years. God only knows. So it could literally range from anywhere from like microbial life to like very advanced like prehistoric sharks with legs that crawl through ice and they can read your mind and they want to go back to the ocean of Earth.
And they won't shut up about it.
No, they won't.
Like it's always the ocean with these sharks.
That's all they fucking talk about. They don't have a Seinfeld to talk about.
You get 2 legs and suddenly like
oh, so you get 2 fucking legs, like moon sharks, and you think you're so fucking cool.
You went on this like great spiel that was so scientific and smart, and then you were like sharks with legs.
I was
that
going
sums
to
up me pretty well.
I was going to interrupt you and ask if they were like buff man legs. But
if you didn't already think that, you're crazy. Of course they are, Brooks. This is science.
That was immediately the image that went into my head.
It was mine as well. Them just like breaking through ice, going like, yes.
Okay, so let's
Water.
Okay. Bradley,
They have fists too.
They have fists. You don't think they have fists?
no,
they
they
have-
just
do they
have
have
really
arms, or
no.
they-
They have really good kicks.
They've got really good kicks.
Like shoes.
oh,
They walking around with Jordan.
oh God.
That's how we know they're advanced.
Oh my God! Look at these sharks. They have legs. And Jordans.
Jordans.
How'd they get Jordans?
And they're like moving around like a fucking Nike commercial.
We all know that the prime directive is we cannot interrupt species development of nuclear weapons, warp drives, and Jordans.
It's all about that like that map of finding civilization. First there's agriculture, then there's Jordans, and then there's war. That's just how it works.
The war is over the Jordans.
Yes, clearly.
Bradley,
Put
where
a
are you
lot
gonna,
of thought into this.
how are you going to weigh in on this?
I mean, if they discover us first, they might not give a shit about us. They'd be like, they suck. We're gonna just ignore them.
Yeah, they could look at us like, it's just an island full of natives. Best just leave them alone.
Yeah, or
And they've already happened.
Yeah.
and that's why we don't know, because they're
What
like,
if-
not these people.
What if on their
They could be
planet?
These
listening to this
people.
podcast right now and be like, "Well, maybe we'll show up and fuck you over."
Well, we
Yeah.
I
are.
mean-
And then you insulted our sharks with legs.
I mean,
bunch of fucking racists.
I mean, there's got to be a reason I've been broadcasting this into space like every episode. But like, have we considered the possibility that what if aliens show up and like wear their version of sharks with legs, like
Oh,
from their
God.
planet, and they're like, this is really fucking weird. They can talk too.
Could you imagine humans that talk?
Yeah, humans with feet. That's so fucking gross. What are they? What is that one man doing with those feet? Oh God!
Could you imagine humans wiping their asses and not eating their feces? That'd be just so gross. I was gonna say it's so delicious.
That'd be so delicious.
It'd be so weird.
That'd be magically delicious, and that's what scares me. Okay, so before we finish with this question, let's try answering the actual. Okay, so let's hypothetically say that we come across a species that is like out in space that's just as advanced as let's say that the sharks with legs who speak through telepathy and everything.
Telekinesis.
Yeah. Well, those are two different things.
Whatever. Was one you can read and then you can like implant?
Telepathy is you can read minds and project stuff. Telekinesis is you can move stuff with your mind.
Okay, well they can do both clearly.
Yes, because they only have feet. They got to work those ships somehow.
Come on, guys. Let's not look like a bunch of fucking idiots here.
Now, if we come across a species like that, like that's on the same level as us, like hypothetically speaking, like do you think the response to us would be hostile, friendly, or something else?
I mean, I think it would be hostile first.
Yeah?
Just looking at human history.
Ooh,
I mean, violent towards other humans.
I mean,
think
they don't know that.
Yeah.
They don't know that. We might be hostile, but what about them?
They could be very hostile. I mean, it would be such like it'd be such a weird barrage of cultures, because like you have to think like, all right, how do we prepare for meeting intelligent life from another world, and then how do they prepare as well? Like, what they do, like setting up like machines, could look like them getting for war. They could see us like in like these suits with these tents and these machines to like, all right, let's see if we can try and talk to them or whatever. They may see that as like an act of war. So you may easily just have a war by accident.
There could very easily be a Dick Cheney shark who's
absolutely.
Who's just like, if there's a 1% chance that weird like thing that he's holding is a fucking weapon of some kind, then we gotta like melt their minds with our mind powers.
Yeah, come on, other sharks with legs.
I think it's gonna be in between, but the first initial reaction is just gonna be, oh shit, what do we do?
Yeah, we're both gonna be like deer in headlights, like, are you real? And they'll be like, are you real? And we're like, oh shit.
Like if they have a culture of some kind, like we don't even know what we don't
what
even
if they
know
have
what their
science
culture...
fiction films and books.
Well, like that's kind of projecting our culture onto them. In reality, like we have no fucking idea what like what their values or like the way that they perceive the world, what that would be,
exactly,
what that would look like. It could even be something beyond our perception. That being said, when humans are discovered, what would Shark Twitter be like? It would blow up. Be like, have you seen this shit? They look like humans with legs.
Ew! Kill them with fire. They've got memes.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, that's how you know.
All civilization must be destroyed.
We'll be like spiders to them, and there'll be like girls that'll like post pictures of humans doing stuff. And be like, oh my god, kill it with fire!
Exactly.
Ew.
Yeah. What if there are shark Twitters filled with cute images of spiders?
Oh my god!
What if spiders are their version of dogs?
Oh my god!
So there's so many accounts and gifs just devoted to spiders.
Guys, we gotta stop playing God.
They're huge.
Space travel was a mistake. We gotta kill Elon Musk.
We gotta kill all the sharks.
It's time for the next question.
Hey, well, God, we solved that one.
Yeah, we answered that question pretty well.
We answered it with beware of sharks.
The next question is, how would you feel about a piece of artificial intelligence living inside your head and talking to you? Like, let's say that like AI gets advanced to a point where it's similar to Cortana in Halo, of where you just kind of plug it into like a helmet or a hat or something, and then she's just there, and you talk to her and
plug
everything.
it into my snapback as I go to the mall.
Exactly.
As I wander around FYE and don't buy anything.
That's the thing that
I don't know.
I feel personally attacked right now. But that's the thing. That's the thing about science fiction is it like real life advancement of technology will never be as cool as sci-fi presents it to be. It will always be lame in some way, or it'll be cool and then made lame,
and then it'll be or it'll become already too normalized for it to be like spectacular.
Like, okay, so let's picture this, like one of the most advanced pieces of technology that's widely available to everyone, which is a cell phone. This thing is more advanced, like computer-wise, than what they used to land on the moon. I have literally access to all information and all of human history, and I can essentially connect with anyone on the planet, and I fucking hate this thing.
And you can
it sucks, and people on Twitter are mean.
And and what's even sadder is you can watch a porn parody of Neil Armstrong fucking an alien.
Exactly. So, hang on, we got a little off track there.
No, I think that's pretty on topic.
Okay, so imagine like the phone is in. Remember when fucking Google Glass tried to make that a thing?
Yeah.
And it's so dumb.
Yeah.
It looks so dumb when people wear it.
Yeah, it just looks really doofy.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about AI being in your head? Like advanced technology being put, like basically merging with like your human tissue? Because I have some thoughts related to a specific movie I've seen recently.
I'm pretty against it unless those AI thoughts can combat my depressing thoughts.
If it's like more helpful than like, harmful,
unless I'm just sitting there thinking like, man, life is really hard, and then it's like searching life is really hard memes,
or
look at these, you sad piece of shit,
or it's this thing. There was this bot, this like piece of AI that was made. I forget what company made it, but they were testing it out and they basically like, in order to get its inputs and everything, they sort of let it loose on Reddit, and it very quickly became a racist. And it would automatically tweet very racist, sexist, horrible things. So
Is that true?
that is true. Look that up.
You didn't hear about this?
No, that's amazing.
It was supposed to learn from other people tweeting and stuff, and like
Yeah.
learn how to be human through other humans, and then it just ended up being a clan member.
That says so much, like about us.
But that being
So
said,
sad.
Oh, it's incredibly
it's
sad.
incredibly upsetting. It's more upsetting than anything on Black Mirror.
Yeah, like, oh, well, now we end up making racist robots. Like, oh, great, they hate humans and blacks. Like,
Why are those two separate groups?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. They shouldn't be. If they're going to hate all humans, they should hate all humans. But now they have to break it up into race, too. We didn't solve racism. We made it worse.
But that being said,
Fucking Nazi robots.
what if when the AI is exposed to your depression, if it learns from that and also becomes depressed?
Yeah, no, it becomes sad, and oh god, the robot version of me, I can't handle that. Like that would be
Yeah.
awful.
That would be.
Yeah, you had to think
I
about
didn't
it.
have a joke for that.
No,
That would
you
just
didn't.
be
You
bad.
thought about it. I'm like, oh no.
Bradley,
Like,
what do you think?
I mean, it would be a good way to curb, the robot uprising. Just give them all depression.
Just give them all to me, guys.
There's, I can't destroy humans today. I just can't do this.
I mean, if
I just
they-
want to go back to bed.
if we are going to expose them to Reddit, then they're all going to be like shitty nihilists and
Yeah.
everything, like high school nihilism
Oh, yeah.
and all that stuff.
And
they're
they think
not.
they're so smart.
Yeah, they'll think they're cooler for not doing a robot uprising because it doesn't even matter, man.
Oh, hipster robots.
That's exactly where I was going to go with it. I was going to say that the AI would get so depressed because most of the time I just spend time contemplating my existence and not liking the outcome. And so the AI would soon enough start contemplating its existence, realize it has no soul, and
Yeah.
therefore, even if heaven exists, it's not getting
And it's
in.
gonna start wearing a Black Flag T-shirt and drinking black coffee, and have like the exact same glasses you and I are wearing.
Oh, man.
What if-
That's spot on me.
I know you're kind, Liam.
Hang on, I'm trying to think.
Black shirt and black coffee.
As it's smoking a cigarette.
That's what I do every morning. No
I know.
joke.
I see it. I can smell it. I can feel it.
I had a thought, and then I was laughing at the black flag and black coffee thing. I lost it. I'm like, damn it.
Sorry. It was probably the greatest thing you will ever say in your life. And it's
Probably.
going to change everything.
No, I think it was like a reference to something on the internet. It probably wasn't great.
So with my comfortability of having an artificial intelligence in my brain, I guess, I don't know, what are the rights of robots in this hypothetical future? That's what it really all hinders on.
None.
Like, what can an AI access in my brain?
Well, here's the thing about AI is it's not really artificial intelligence. What it is, it's basically the same kind of like computer like operating systems that are really run anything. It's
Yeah.
just like
Now it's got a sweet British voice.
It gets to a point of where we start assigning human traits to it,
Yeah.
and then we refer to AI. Whereas really, it's not any different than like the algorithm that runs like YouTube or whatever,
Yeah.
and everything. It's just once we start attributing stuff to it and everything. I just lost another thought. I was basically gonna say it's more. Yeah, I got it back. It's basically, I think the real question is like rather than like the questions about like AI and like robots, which like essentially just become like allegories for like people and everything, more like thinking about like what is the actual use of having an AI in your brain? Like how does that actually, like what does that do and everything? Because there's this tendency among Silicon Valley to kind of just do things because they can,
Yeah.
without really considering any ethical things or really like the usefulness of it
Yeah.
and everything. Like there's been so many times when like I've like just on Twitter I saw this the other day where someone was just like, man, like Spotify is great and streaming stuff like Netflix, but where's streaming for books? Like where's a service where we can like just subscribe and then like get all these books and like we can share them and like do all this stuff? And then the someone quote tweeting is like, Do you mean a library?
Or Audible? Doesn't Audible already do that?
Does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
I was
then-
going to say, is this turning into an ad for Audible?
Sponsored by Audible, guys.
We're almost at the ad, but we're not quite there yet.
Okay.
But what I mean is then you have stuff like where like tech bros are just like, okay, so we've come up with this startup where we're going to like have people rent out spaces in this big warehouse where they have their own like private rooms and everything. And someone's like, that's a fucking hotel. Like you're not like there's this desire in Silicon Valley and like technology in general to like just keep like innovating and disrupting and coming up with new stuff when like the old adage of if it ain't broke, don't fix it and everything. So
Yeah.
with that kind of thing is like what's the point of adding like an AI to your thing like when you can just like have a phone and everything?
I don't know, man. I think like it may become like you may be right. It may be like a sort of like self-fulfilling prophecy. Like we've dreamed of robots, and then we let Silicon Valley do whatever it wants. So then therefore we get robots.
Yeah.
Without actually having to think about it. Just because it feels like it's the natural order of thing. Like of course we'd get robots.
But that like the only reason that seems like the natural
Yeah.
order of things is because of our culture and like
exactly,
science
and
fiction.
and that's why it feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy of that because like didn't really have much thought in doing it. You're just like might as well.
it's sort of like that. Like there's a lot of stuff of where like I said, like people don't really put much thought into like the modern questions of technology, and they just fall back on the old cliches of having the robots just be people, and just have it be an allegory. That's that new game, Detroit Become Human.
Oh, the new David Cage game?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that's not going to be fucking amazing because it's David Cage?
Yeah, it's gonna be deep as shit. It's literally I've listened to people talk about it. It sounds fucking horrendous.
Why watch a movie when you can make a video game do all the things a movie does? David Cage.
They made the robots stand at the back of the bus.
Just like racism. Boo, 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 boo.
I was looking forward to it.
I know you were.
His
Key
games,
word was, thanks guys, you big dumb idiots.
but his games suck though.
Yeah, they're
I
all
like
real-
them.
You like David Cage games?
like David
Really?
Cage.
Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry, not to belittle your...
Hey Josh, go fuck yourself.
Okay.
The
we don't like David Cage.
the movie I was referencing that I was going to talk about was Upgrade, but we don't have time before the ad.
Oh, was that any good? Did
It's
you see
very
it?
good.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a really good kind of fun ultra.
Well, I think it looks
thing.
dumb.
Yeah.
How do you like that, you big dumb goofs?
Yeah, you
I mean,
stupid idiot.
I've already seen it, and you're allowed to have your opinion, and that doesn't affect my life in any way.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
don't-
and your hair looks awful.
that was
one,
mean.
That one does affect me.
I know, right?
That was a sting.
I can't attack you on your opinion because it's an opinion, but I can attack you on your looks.
We'll be right back with the ad.
Woo!
Hey.
So Bradley, I believe you know who our sponsor for today is. E3's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think it might already be happening by
Yeah.
the time that this episode comes out.
Well, it technically starts at 12.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. So
Wait, is E3 today?
I mean, the first conference was today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
really,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It was EA, so no one really
No,
cares.
yeah.
Wow.
no,
So
no.
no one gave a
God.
shit.
But anyway, I believe you know who our sponsor today is.
Yeah. Our sponsor today, who would have thought, is Halo 6.
Ah, da, da,
Halo
da,
six.
da, 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 da.
That was noise. Anyway, Bradley, tell us a bit about the upcoming Halo 6.
Well, if you enjoyed the story of Halo 5,
I didn't.
neither did anyone else. Well, you're going to love the story of Halo 6.
Can you not right now?
I'm giving you the background music for the ad.
I'm just gonna turn you off.
All right, that's fine.
You're
I'll
back.
do it louder.
I can't equalize you properly, so you're just going to be over top of what Bradley's saying.
All right, then I'll go. Go.
That's even worse.
We're running out of music here.
I'll just wait until he's done, right?
Good, thank you. That's right.
You're running out of material
It
soon.
was a very bold choice for the marketing campaign to play the full soundtrack album before they actually start talking about the game.
Bold move.
Yeah, they literally have like 45-minute ads.
Who owns it now? Is it Bethesda or something?
No. It's like Microsoft owns it themselves, and they have fucking 343 doing
Oh,
it.
right.
But anyway, please tell us about the story of Halo 6.
It's bad, probably.
I mean, like, read off the ad copy.
Gotta sell this son of a bitch.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Don't let our opinions come in.
Yeah, of course.
Did Zach leave his notebook?
Let Zach
I don't want to look at Zach's writings.
I do.
I'm going to do that once we're done recording.
Yeah, what if he's like a serial killer or something we never knew?
And this is especially
That's a good
funny since Zach has confirmed that he actually does listen to the show.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, like, that makes me happy.
Make
so-
it sound like it's a punishment.
Good.
Good.
Well, no, because he always said he didn't. So he got
Oh.
caught in his lie.
Oh, he's a liar.
Yeah.
He,
We
I
have
don't.
proof.
I don't mean to derail the ad, but like I remember, it was back in the Brooks and Zach 100 Years days. But there was a day that I had that was incredibly bad, and I was going through a lot of stuff and sharing some of it with Zach, and then he was basically saving the revelation that he actually listened for my birthday, but he told me early in order to cheer me up. And like he was very mad at me about that because he was saving it for so long and everything. But yeah, so he could have been lying. I don't know.
He could have lied to me now that I think about it.
I was incredibly sad at the time, so I just took it at face value and have continued to take it at face value.
He told me his plan to tell you on your birthday. So
Yeah, he said that whole thing like, I'm going to lie to Brooks. I mean,
No, I believe Zach. It was a very nice moment, a very nice gesture that did cheer me up a lot and everything.
anyway, done with this pansy ass
So-
shit.
so anyway-
about Halo 6.
yeah, I want to shoot some fucking aliens.
So
Yeah.
so when talking about the story of Halo 6, you have to understand it's none of this pansy emotions shit. It's real storytelling where you just kind of shoot things a lot.
Yeah, with like the idea that there's a story there, but like there's no point in paying attention. 'cause
There's
it's
hints
just
at a story.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's very avant-garde and bold where they sort of hint at a story being there.
Yeah.
But really, it's more like sort of in the way of if you're decorating a house. If you have, say, dressing for your windows,
Yeah.
like to give like color to the house or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
houses.
They're building the house of Halo 6. Okay, we're just gonna
Come
cut
on
the
in.
we're gonna cut to the chase. It's a Fortnite ripoff. They've been dancing around it in the ad. They don't want anyone to say, but it's a Fortnite game.
yeah.
Actually, I know the story.
What is the
If
story?
you guys want to hear
I
it.
do.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, okay, so it starts.
Have you gotten some Prime leaks from
I got some
343?
prime. I got some prime leaks.
Does the
baby.
Arbiter come back? Is he dead? I don't remember what happened to him.
The last one I played was 3, so I'm going off of just knowledge of what they told me.
In the third one,
And
the one that's 3 behind.
yeah, so there's now Master Chief is alive. Believe it or not, he survived the end of the last game, and now he's going back to Earth to fight for vengeance after the Covenant took over Earth and with their human friends, and it's everyone's racist. Everyone, including the Covenant, are racist against the Jews.
You know,
Oh, whoa,
And,
whoa!
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it
it's
gets
very.
deeper.
Went
I
in an
think
interesting
it's
direction.
Deeper.
I think
It's
it's very
deeper.
it's very bold in the time in the time of President Trump to be for a piece of art to really stick it to the man by having very tacked on metaphors of racism
Yeah,
that are not thought out at all. That'll really show them. That'll dismantle this whole their whole thing.
and there's all these references to fake news, but they're like not obscure at all.
And the president
Yes.
in the world, the world's president in the game, His name is President Trump.
And he looks like a flood.
There's a point when Master Chief turns to the camera and says, Kofefi.
There's a point where he says, I'm with her. And he points his finger like a finger gun.
That'll show him. That'll show the man.
Get our new women's DLC, the I Love Pussy DLC.
Where you play as Cortana.
With huge tits. Because of feminism.
Hashtag resistance.
This is what you wanted, right? Pleasing everybody.
Wait, who are we making fun of here this time?
I don't know who this fucking game's for. I just want money. Quote owner of Halo 6.
That's it. That's it for the. I remember
we're gonna get sued.
I remember when. I
the
remember
whole thing too.
before we go out of the ad. I remember like one time Zach like pulled me aside and be like, "Can we not do political stuff anymore?"
Yeah, but that's not all that political though.
No, that's just making fun of people who think saying Drumpf is an actual like way of combating anything.
Yeah. Also, Halo 6.
Halo 6.
Who gives a shit about Halo 6 and wherever it stands
but
on anything?
But also, it's called Halo 6 because now there's 6 Halos, and each one is more flooded than the last one.
Oh.
And I'm not talking with aliens, I'm talking with water. So it's raining down on the Earth, and everyone's all confused. But guess what? The Jews are still being prosecuted, so Master Chief has to fight to save the Jews, but also he has to fight to destroy the 6 Halos. Is he going to do it in time before the end of the game? Maybe.
Just to clarify, they're being prosecuted, not persecuted, right?
For their crimes
of being Jews from space. But that's a little whoa.
That's another DLC, Jews from space.
We didn't even finish the game. You want it now, take it, and we'll finish it later. That's what DLC is.
You get to pay for every 5 minutes of the game comes in a new paid package.
Wait until our climate change DLC where it's all just water. Wow! And then it cuts to like some fat idiot's like his like shitty like analysis video. It's like, yeah, if you notice very subtly, this is all about climate change and how it's surrounded in water. And you're like, wow, great video.
And it's called the Climate Change DLC.
Yeah. It's all very subtle. And if you didn't know, you would totally miss it. You go,
is he from South Park?
No, but that's the ad. And then it cuts off to him.
You go to IGN's review and it's just like, well, the story is completely terrible, the gameplay is almost non-existent, and the entire thing just exists as an exercise to exploit consumer base who will essentially, like, while also complain about business practices like these, will still buy into it for some diluted sense of loyalty to this kind of hobby. 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 70%. Yikes. That's what they gave Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I was like, wow, that's not good.
It's also not out yet, so there's like 5 people who reviewed it probably.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I watched it.
So anyway, we're on to the big old meat of the ending.
Can we real quick talk about, like, I guess this goes with what we were talking about. We're talking about Halo. That's a video game. Did anyone see the EA conference or know anything about it?
I did not, no.
I remember I used to watch E3 all the time when it came out. Or like when they'd have like the conferences, I'd be like, gotta tune into G4 and find out what's going on.
Back when playing video games was a very large part of my identity as a person, like AKA high school.
Hey, what's wrong with having video games as a part of your identity?
I mean, like, maybe not be defined by the media you consume sometimes.
And then you just
coming from you two.
Yeah, I know, right? And I was just gonna say, and then you become that thing, which we are.
Yeah.
Like 95% of our conversations are references, and we don't have real conversations sometimes. Totally not bringing up dates with women.
I'd like to think I'm transitioning to the things I make defining me more than the things I watch.
No.
Come on, man.
Nah, you're trying, but you're stuck in here with me, buddy.
You're trying, but
you're still stuck in the mud with me. We're going to hell.
I know. I can talk about this because he's not here, but I know Zach. That's just how he views me and Yaskovich, as like just a bunch of references and like no like substance to the conversations at all. Like probably,
but he's exactly that as well.
Probably the most heartbreaking thing he's ever said to me was when we were talking about the book of Ready Player One, and I was just like, yeah, I've read excerpts, and like it's really not good because it's mostly just like a list of like nostalgia baiting references, like literally just listing off a bunch of things from the 80s, and then Zach's just like, well, I mean, like, I just view that as, like, that's how you and Josh talk and everything. It's sort of like
Yikes.
that. And I'm like,
wow.
He directly compared us to Ready Player One, the novel.
Oh,
so
that is so funny.
that's part of why I'm trying to transition away from, like, having aspects of my personality other than movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, back to what I was going to do. E3, you said you saw some of the EA conference. Are they coming out with anything?
They actually are coming out with a new IP. It looks horrible, and the voice acting and the gameplay they showed was horrendous.
And that's enough of that. Bradley.
Yeah. No, I don't want to talk any more about it. It's called Anthem. It doesn't look good.
It's called Anthem.
The talk
Probably
of the
filled
town.
with DLC.
I wouldn't doubt it.
The topic of today is Halo, and so we will not talk about E3 or EA. We will talk about Halo, and we have some questions for you, our guests, that we're gonna do like a sort of like interview kind of talk about Halo. Feel free to join in and not let us like dominate the conversation or anything.
If it's an interview, that seems kind of hard.
Yeah,
for you to dominate.
We
the
keep
conversation.
we keep it loose. We keep it fresh. So you pick the topic of Halo, and you've played all of the Halo games.
Yes.
And you've played at least all the mainline series.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess the good place as any to start is what was your first experience with the Halo franchise?
Played in high school, like senior year of high school with a friend of mine. We played through the campaign of Halo 3, which was the first time I'd played it. I'd heard of it, but never played it, and I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool game.
So you started with 3.
Yeah. I started with 3, and that was my, the first time I saw anything in that, the flood and all that fun, horrifying stuff.
See that? Yeah, that's that's always been a Liam, please. that's always been a thing with me of where like I can't ever start like whether it be video games or like movies or something. I can't start like in the middle of a series, even if it's like really long running, even if it's like kind of standalone. And like I remember Mad Max Fury Road was coming out, and I really wanted to see it. And like I made an effort to see the other Mad Max movies, which I hadn't done before. Like even though like none of those are connected or anything, but like Halo's like a big.
Why are you looking at me?
I thought I heard someone breathing.
Someone's breathing. Someone's breathing
Is it
into
me?
the mic.
I think it was you. Yeah.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, because you were just resting your face on
pretty
it.
heavy.
I was thinking about nostalgia and Halo 3, and I was getting lost in the memory.
Well, I was gonna say that Halo is like at least the first 3 were like supposed to be this big like kind of grand like trilogy and everything, this big story and everything. So what was it like kind of starting like at the end of it?
I mean, it made me really want to go back and play the first 2.
Yeah.
Which I did, and it it was a little weird going out of order because like I knew like the direction it was headed, but it was still, I mean, they're good games, so it was a lot of fun even knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah, and like it's interesting, like a story can take on kind of different context when you know like the way it's gonna like end up and everything. Like were some of the I haven't played Halo 3. I've only played the first one. Like just to be upfront, like for all of it, I know we talked about this before we started recording, but just so everyone knows where we stand in this, like you've played all of the main games and some of the side ones.
Yeah.
I have played the first one, Reach, and parts of ODST and Halo Wars. Liam, what have you played?
Halo 2 and Halo 3.
And
I was 3 ODST and Reach.
Yeah, so we're all sort of like kind of all over the place. We all have at least a certain level of familiarity with it. And like I guess my question like with starting with 3 is that like did some of the I haven't played it so I don't know the story, but like did some of the like it's the ending of a trilogy and everything. So did like a lot of the like sort of story beats work in a vacuum and everything, not knowing anything about like what happened in the first two games? Or is it like, because it's this thing of like where you play the first game and the second game and you become attached to everything and invested in what's going on, and so like not having that kind of background, do you think the story like still kind of worked like on its own?
Yeah, like each game had its own like story arc that then fit into the larger story. So I mean, they all work as a standalone. But then when you put them all three together, you have that whole overarching story, which is, what makes at least the older games have a cool galaxy that they build and everything.
Right.
So it works.
This isn't really like all that relevant, but like just as like a quick side thing, like have you consumed any of the like? I know there's like a lot of Halo books and everything. Have you consumed, and like comics, have you consumed any of the Halo media outside of the games?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't watched any of like the series they have like on Netflix or anything like that?
No, I mean, because I was never really that into Halo. Like, I always liked playing the games, but it wasn't like, I need more of this. Like, just playing the games is enough for me.
And did we say, like, we did say at the start, like, why you picked it? Yeah. And everything, but it did give you this desire to kind of like go back to it and everything. Yeah. Do you guys have any want to chime in about your first experiences with Halo?
My like love for Halo is all purely nostalgia based, because I was never I've only played like the third game, ODST and Reach, and that's only because those were the games me and my cousins played. So like whenever I associate like playing Halo 3, I don't even think about the story, any of that other shit. All I think about is like being in my cousin's basement, being loud, swearing as loud as we want, like freaking out, like, oh my god, the flood, Jesus Christ, and like just having fun. Like, so I can never really give like a critical analysis on it as a franchise. You see, or like as a series or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of the same with me. My first experience with it was playing Halo 2 with my older brother, and we would play against each other.
Yeah.
And he would first thing he would do was find a Banshee or something to fly in, go up real high, camp, and snipe me. And I just want to say, Sean, if you're listening, come and face me like a real man, you piece of shit in the Halo world.
I will take my hammer I have called Banshee and show you a real Banshee.
Who will be screaming now?
But
yeah, like that's kind of like where I'm standing, of where like I don't have a lot of personal attachment to it and everything. I thought like this was kind of going to be like the way it was, like thinking about this episode before we started, because like Bradley just like kind of chose it because we were playing it and everything. And then I think that like us talking like kind of brought into focus what I find kind of interesting, that like we can make, like I think is probably like why we bother even like talking about it with this episode, or like makes it even somewhat interesting to talk about, is we do have E3 coming up, and there is most likely going to be Halo 6, like the latest in this franchise that like for a big part of the time that we were all growing up and the people of our age, like was this huge thing, and like this defining thing of a very specific like subset of gaming culture, and like the sort of like kind of like childhoods of a lot of people like us and people like us. But now we're at a stage of where it's in its sixth game, and like a lot of people just don't really care anymore and everything. And we can only, like you were saying, you can only kind of view it nostalgically.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's this thing of like, probably not for people who are more into it, but for like maybe like a lot of people like us, it is this kind of thing that like we can only view it in that lens of looking back nostalgically. And it's just kind of like, and like, what does that say about like the way that franchises in video games, and like video games are different from movies and all these other artistic mediums, and it's kind of coming into its own. And like, what does it mean to start seeing, like, it's also not like an uncommon thing to see this happen with franchises, but like, what does it mean for this like thing that once like was so like mighty and like so huge and so defining and like really literally reshaped the entire landscape of video games, to now just be like just this thing that no one really like has all that much investment in.
Well, so like there's like a poetic answer I have, and then the real answer. The poetic is like, yeah, it's sad when you like these things are like magic tricks. You see the magic trick once and you're amazed, and then you see it a bunch of other times and it just kind of loses its magic. Happiness with something doesn't always last forever. The real answer is we'll just build up another franchise and then have that become extremely successful, then milk that till it's dead in the ground, and then you just move on to the next thing.
Yeah. And are things always going to be that kind of impermanent and everything?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sort of going off that and going off...
Hey, man, money's fucking great. You're telling me you don't like money? Go fuck yourself, and I'll take your money. Friends by default.
So sort of going...
That's our official saying.
Going off of, the questions of investment and everything, this is another one where we'll start with you, Bradley, and then maybe ask where everyone else stands. What specifically do you think? What drew you to the series? What was it in Halo 3 that made you want to go back and play the first two, and then what was in the first two in the trilogy as a whole that made you stick around with it through maybe lesser entries like 4 and 5 and onwards?
I mean, I think early on it was just the gameplay. It was a good first-person shooter, which, I mean, is 90% of games nowadays, it seems. But, at the time it was a less common genre of game. But then, playing it deeper and getting more into it, the story in those first 3 games is unique in a way that Microsoft seems to have forgotten how to do more recently, but the story really drew me in rather than making me just want to focus on the gameplay.
What would you say made it unique? What are the unique things that made it maybe stand out from other games or even other just media in general?
Because it's not just from the perspective, because when you're playing a first person shooter, it's generally here's one side, here's the other side, we're the good guys or the bad guys. But then it splits into not all the bad guys are bad guys. Some of the bad guys realize, wow, we're the bad guys, and then split and don't want to be the bad guys anymore, and then you play from their perspective, going through their transition, and it really adds more layers to the story.
Because that was what happened with introducing the Arbiter in Halo 2 and everything.
Yep.
I know enough about the story to know that was a thing, and you were asking if the Arbiter was dead, and then you just didn't care.
No, yeah, I don't care anymore. Because, for me, with, the story, again, my love for, Halo was, playing with people, playing with my cousins, doing team deathmatch and just fucking around. The story's cool, and I like the soundtrack and all that neat stuff. But when I was playing Reach on my own, I was like, I don't care, I'm bored. I want to go into online and play with people.
Right,
that's for me. I kind of lump Halo and Call of Duty and all those types of games, even Battlefield, in the same camp of you're really here for the multiplayer, and then the story is for whatever.
Yeah.
I guess to have a consistent flow of whatever.
I know some people, me included, they really single player is their jam, and they look more for single player and everything. And it's weird, It's weird in that talking about the differences between video games and movies and books and stuff. You can't have a movie or a book really where the point is just reading it, or the point nothing happens, but it's just reading it, or just watching it, and watching it with other people, whereas that's the point of it, instead of whereas with games, it's really the gameplay, and multiplayer was definitely a big part of the draw of Halo and everything, and the story and the unique stuff, because that came out of an era of Doom clones and everything.
Yeah,
that was the 90s, where there was Wolfenstein, then there was Doom, and then there was all the Doom clones and everything, and then it sort of emerged in this kind of environment of, you have that, and you also have emerging multiplayer stuff like Unreal Tournament and Counter-Strike, and then GoldenEye, showing that you can actually have shooters on consoles and have them not be terrible.
Yeah.
Even though GoldenEye is fucking unplayable.
Oh
now.
yeah, it absolutely.
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It's so bad.
I just played it recently with some friends, and I was like, I cannot fucking I couldn't aim at all. Like I was just swerving around, and I forgot you had to hold the fucking N64 controller in like a weird way where you have to hold onto its dick, and you're like, I'm sorry.
Why does it have a dick?
Why does it have a giant dick?
Okay, so yeah, we've been like kind of serious over the past few minutes with these questions and everything, but now we need to stop a little and ask, why does the N64 controller have a dick?
I don't know,
you
but
fucking
it is,
loser.
it is the worst designed controller I have ever seen.
It looks like a fucking spaceship that you have to hold on to.
It was
So
really
goofy.
Okay, so it was really important in the history of controllers for like the design innovations it had and its use of analog sticks, and eventually you get good stuff.
Yeah.
Like if it eventually led to the Switch controllers, which are fucking great.
Yeah.
And everything, and then like the PlayStation DualShock, and like they've like essentially perfected it, and like any changes they make are just like kind of pointless at this point.
You need that stepping stone of like death in between.
Yeah.
Those traits got to survive onto a thing that won't survive, but hopefully it'll fuck one, so then those good traits go onto a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like a T-Rex.
But yeah, Halo kind of
Evolution.
What?
That's what evolution is.
Oh.
Don't ask me any questions. I'm a teacher.
How do I get to the Starbucks?
You want to have sex with the dinosaur?
What?
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
You want to have sex with a
wanna have
dinosaur?
I
It's a
mean,
command.
all right, I'm not doing anything after this. But yeah, that's kind of the environment that Halo kind of came out of, and it's easy to see why it fucking blew everybody's mind. Because like Bradley and I, like you and I have been playing, like we've been playing through the first Halo game and everything, and it's just been like it's still a good game. It's still fun, and it still has a lot of stuff going for it and everything. The graphics haven't aged too well, but like that's the thing. Like people always complain about graphics and like older graphics and everything.
Who gives a fuck about
Yeah, nobody
graphics?
cares. But like my thing is that like the limitations of certain systems and their graphics means that like games of that era, or like all eras, not even that, like I'm not even saying that like, oh, everything's like better back then than it was now, but it applies to all eras where whatever the graphical limitations are of what you're working with, like people, like the most talented people would use it to create a specific look and feel to the game. And like Bungie definitely did that with the first Halo game. It's hard to describe because I'm not good at putting that kind of stuff to words, but it has this specific look and feel of just like grandiosity and like all these
this
like
epic space adventure.
yeah, it felt like an epic space opera, which was a type of thing that you didn't see in video games a lot. It would always be like you're on Mars now and there's a bunch of demons you gotta kill.
Yeah.
And everything.
Go to hell.
Go to hell.
No, yeah, man. It's never a matter of what you have. It's a matter of what you can do.
So
Here's your moral lesson today. Don't race.
So Bradley, I probably already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What are your favorite Halo games, and which ones do you not like as much, and why is that?
Well, I've hinted a few times about liking the early ones and not so much liking the later ones.
I hate Halo Wars. I just want to say that.
Oh, really?
No, I hate it. It's dumb.
That's fair.
Strategy games are cool, but like could care less about Halo Wars. Next question.
Bradley?
I mean, the 1, 2, and 3 are I really like. I like Reach. I do like Halo Wars, and I'm playing through Halo Wars 2, and I'll say of the 343 era of Halo, it's easily the best one so far. Which is kind of sad that it's kind of the offshoot RTS version of Halo.
Did they develop that? Because like I thought, did Bungie develop the original Halo Wars, or I thought it was the Command and Conquer people who did that.
I'm not sure. I know 343 had a part in Halo Wars 2. I don't think they did it entirely on their own.
Right, because 343 they did the remasters and everything for the original Halo games and everything, and that's how they got the job to continue the series. And that's not the first time that that's happened, where they do the remasters and thus they get the job to make the sequel, and then they fuck it up. Because a series that I am a huge fan of ever since I was a wee lad was the Sly Cooper series.
Yeah.
And the Sly Cooper 1, 2, and 3 were made by Sucker Punch Studios, and they were all amazing. And then they got these guys to come in to do the trilogy remaster for PlayStation 3. And then they were like, hey, why don't you make Sly Cooper 4 and have it be about time travel? And they did it, and it... Bradley, I want you to look me in the eyes.
Okay.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
Oh,
It was bad.
I'm
I'm going to make
I've never
myself
played
cry just
any of
thinking
them.
about it.
He's actually crying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Can we move on, please?
No, you have to show emotion. This is the real emotion. Oh god, it's getting everywhere.
Anyway, yeah. So why do you think the 343 games are inferior?
I mean, for what I've been saying, the story isn't great, but then lack of variety in the gameplay. It's kind of, you go to this place, you shoot a bunch of aliens. All right, there you go. You go to another place, you shoot a bunch of aliens. There you go. While as before, it was like, yeah, you'd go to a place and shoot a bunch of aliens, but there's also a bunch of like exploration you could do and a bunch of like other little things you could do within the worlds. But like this is just like here's a little map.
There was
Kill
better.
everything.
There was both better variety and better pacing, is what
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah.
Like where they knew how to like pace out the action sequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels kind of weird, like saying that out loud of like pacing out, like spreading out the action sequences in what is essentially an action game. And like on the surface, it seems like that's just the game is a series of action sequences.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really look at like what's like the better like ones of the genre and everything, it's usually the ones that know how to spread out that kind of stuff and not just have it be like a relentless kind of onslaught and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas you also like have the other thing where like you have like Doom 2016, which is kind of a relentless onslaught, and that really works for that. So I guess it's really like knowing what you're trying to go for and like being able to accomplish it well, which I assume you think 343 is not capable of doing.
I mean, so far they've
suck.
shown that they're not.
What other games has 343 done? Does
I'm not
anyone? Yeah, anyone know?
Liam, why don't you look that up
Yeah,
for
look
us
it
right
up, you
now?
fucking idiot.
Since you haven't been talking a lot.
Yeah.
Using your phone anyway.
And that's why, Bradley, we here at Friends by Default would like to give you are now the owner and holder of the rights of Halo, the Halo franchise. It's all yours. You don't get any of the money. Everybody already got all the money. But you get you have Halo now.
That's cool.
So possibly you could make more money.
Your name is in the bathroom at 343 Studios on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's all I
Carved
need.
everywhere.
Only Halo games.
Are you
Really?
serious?
Only Halo games.
And they're bad at it. Like, that's the only thing that they do, and they're not good at it. Yeah.
You could call him a Rick Gregory.
Oh, man.
The thing they were designed to make is the thing they cannot make. What a
So,
tragedy.
talking about developers and everything, with Bungie, have you played Destiny and Destiny 2 at all?
You know, I own both of them, but I've never played them.
Really?
You rich fuck.
They're good.
I mean, I got one of them for free,
Oh.
and then the other one I got for
Fuck
like
with friends.
$8.
Just
Shit.
if you want my advice, just play Destiny 2. Like skip Destiny 1 because if you play through Destiny,
That's what I hear.
yeah, if you play through Destiny 1 and then you go to play Destiny 2, you're just like, oh fucking wow, this is the exact same game.
Yeah.
And I hear the story in Destiny 1 is hot garbo.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, it's terrible.
Oh, jeez. I don't know anything about Destiny.
They had to replace Peter Dinklage because his performance was really bad.
Oh, no. I like Peter Dinklage.
And I wish I didn't update the game because that happened while I had Destiny. So I got to hear it change from Peter Dinklage to Nolan North, and the change is ridiculous.
You went to Nolan North, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think they don't even sound similar.
no, they don't.
But Nolan North
Nolan
puts
North-
on a performance.
Nolan North is a good voice actor. That's the thing. Whenever, like, I'm sorry for all these like asides and tangents, but like whenever someone's just like, "Oh, voice acting, like that must be so easy" and everything,
No.
there's plenty of actors who are like great actors
Yeah.
who are really bad voice
All
actors.
right,
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage is not a great actor.
I think he's all
Yes,
right.
he is.
He's okay in Game of Thrones. Everything else I've seen him in, he's been hot garbage.
I really like him in 3 Billboards.
He's very good in Game of Thrones.
Okay, I haven't
and, like,
seen that.
Billboards is really good.
What the stuff that I've seen him in, he's been very good in. So
What about Pixels?
look, no one was good in Pixels.
What about Elf?
He was good in Elf.
He is an elf.
I thought he was annoying.
he
He's very good in Elf.
I like him in Elf. That's like the
that is him in Elf, right?
yeah. That is.
Okay.
He's the guy that owns the board, the company, or wherever his dad works at, or some shit.
Yeah, he's like the hotshot author that
Yeah.
they bring in,
Yeah,
and then like Buddy thinks he's like
An
elf.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first. Liam doesn't think short people can act. Anyways,
Like,
that's his.
I'm a short person.
That's his official statement.
it was very funny in a children's film having Peter Dinklage yell, "I get more action in a week than you get in your entire life." What the fuck are you talking about, Liam? That's great. He's
Peter
great.
Dinklage most certainly gets the puss. I don't know about you.
I mean, he's married, so yeah.
oh, I was gonna say something really bad about that. Then I was gonna say he's perfect puss height.
Jesus Christ, that's not good.
Yeah, you laughed at it, so it
Well,
means you're
like
just
the-
as horrible as I am.
The question I was going to say was like, do you think like Bungie in its own is like this really talented team? Well, of course, like obviously they're very talented, but do you think like they could have like they could make anything of Halo quality, or do you think Halo like was this kind of special like lightning in a bottle type of thing where they like just perfectly captured the zeitgeist and like was able to shape the gaming kind of landscape and then like be able to follow it through with 2 more games and everything?
I mean, I guess it depends on the story they're given. Because when they were working on Halo, they were given a story like, hey, do this story. And they made a good game out of it. Whereas with Destiny, they were kind of left like, hey, let's make our own game. So, assuming that they were given an idea that was actually somewhat good, I imagine they could make another good Halo game. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think they're going to want to work with Microsoft, but because
Yeah,
They stopped.
They've been sticking with Sony, so
yeah.
they probably like I don't know the details of it, and like I might just be completely talking on my ass, but I would not be surprised if the reason they stopped working with Microsoft was because Microsoft wanted more Halo games and
That's
everything,
possible.
and so after Reach, they just they just parted ways.
Yeah.
So I guess like lastly speaking and everything, because we're a little over time, but I think that's all right because like I think this talk has been interesting.
Yeah.
Even if it hasn't been laugh out loud funny like the entire time, I think like what we've been getting into has been kind of interesting and a little insightful.
That's fair.
All right, Liam. Okay, cool. That's cool.
Well, I think what was really important that we were the first ever podcast to show the fears of sharks with legs. No one
Yes.
else is talking about.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Okay. We'll
Neil
get
deGrasse Tyson
we'll get
ain't
into
talking
the-
about that.
We'll get
I brought
into
that up
the-
because I've been watching Mike Tyson Mysteries and Neil deGrasse Tyson's in it.
How great is that show?
It's awfully amazing.
Right?
It's both terrible, but I can't stop watching it.
Mike Tyson's just the cutest in that,
so-
even though he's a woman beater.
Yeah, and a rapist.
Oh, he's
They
a
bring that up
rapist?
in the show too.
That's weird.
There's a whole bit where like Norm Macdonald's character, who's fucking hilarious in that pigeon, is just like, Jesus Christ. Sometimes we forget that's fucking Mike Tyson. He could kill any of us at like any time. They bring up it's so weird. It's just like what's weird about that show is like
Okay,
that it exists.
Before we get into that, like the final question and then the sign off and everything. Like I guess the final thing is like, what do you think the future of the series will be? Like, and like as a little tacked on thing after our talk and like the things we got into, are you even invested at this point?
No.
No, I mean I'll eventually probably play it. Like I just played 5 like 2 weeks ago, 4 years after the game came out,
Yeah.
and it's just I'll play 6 eventually. I'm not going to pay full price for it. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I won't really care because I know the story is going to be, non-existent.
Hot garbage.
Yeah. So
On that note,
well,
Mike Tyson
if you
Mysteries.
don't mind, gentlemen, I have to go home and get my brother some food. So I will leave you with the sign off. You can find me at any of the social medias at Lamb the Liam. Okay, bye. Mwah.
Bye. There he goes.
Bye,
Our
Liam.
boy will never
Sorry, boys.
see again.
it's fine.
He's walking away. He's pulling out a gun. oh my God. But no, Mike Tyson Mysteries is weird and it shouldn't exist. And it's weird that it does. And I don't understand why.
Okay.
Like, imagine if you made a show with Charles Manson and there's jokes about Charles Manson on all those murders in it, and you're like, all right, I guess we're okay with this.
That'd be really fucked up.
That's what it is. It's so weird.
I would feel very uncomfortable either making it or watching it.
And it's so lazy, too. They just get to a point in their episodes where they're like, all right, whatever, just finish up the plot. Just let this happen. And like everyone's silent and they look around and they're like, well, all right, this happened. And you just accept it. Like, you just accept everything you're seeing, and it sucks. And I need to watch all of it.
So anyway, that was our special test out episode of having a guest on with a topic that the guest chooses.
Halo. We were talking about Halo.
This has been our Halo episode.
It's topical, kind of, maybe.
Kinda, in a way.
Depending what happens at E3.
Yeah. But basically... Yeah. So we hope that you enjoyed this. Let us know if you want to see episodes where guests come on in the future and talk about different things. If you want like us to explore this kind of format or whatever, more of a casual kind of thing that's not like wall to wall like jokes or riffing and everything. And yeah, just let us know how we did. The best way to do that is to email us fbdpod@gmail.com. That's the best way to get in contact with us and send us questions and give us feedback and all that sort of stuff. If you want to listen to the show, the best place to listen to it is definitely iTunes or any other podcasting app that you use. You can subscribe on iTunes, leave a rating and review. That helps us out a ton, helps like promote the show and everything. And if you feel like promoting the show and want to help see us succeed, the best way to do that is like just word of mouth. We don't have an advertising budget of any kind, so introducing the show to people who you think might enjoy it as much as you do, or enjoy it more in case you don't enjoy it a lot. That's fine. Like we're not. I don't know why you're still listening. Then we're not forcing you to do this.
No, if you hate us, let us know because no one has told us anything. If you hate us, comment, please.
It's like yelling into the void. Like you just want it to yell back.
Yeah, you don't care about the answer. You want a response.
But yeah, you can find us there or any other podcasting app that you can think of. We have episodes automatically upload to our YouTube channel, 100 Years Productions. And that's the best place to find, like, the back catalog and everything. I don't recommend going to YouTube first. I recommend the podcast because Zach and I were talking about how a friend of ours was trying to, like, find it on YouTube. And, like, the first, like, 2 episodes aren't on the channel because I didn't know about the Libsyn automatic thing. And they weren't they just had the same names as the episodes. So they weren't labeled Friends by Default and everything. I've been trying to make an effort to change that to make them easier to find, but at the same time, any podcasting app is going to be better than like YouTube and everything. It's just a backup place. Yeah. It's a backup place to put it. And then we also have a Patreon page, 100 Years Productions, where any money for that goes towards both this show and stuff like You'll Like 'Em and other things that we might do, just our whole group of friends. Like it's just like it's sort of a reserve where I have a PayPal account where like it's just like kept like, and eventually we'll save up for different stuff.
Yeah, so we can finally buy that pony you promised me all those years ago.
We'll get it eventually. Just be patient.
I don't want to be patient anymore. I want a black stallion.
If you want to help Josh get a black stallion, please consider donating to 100 Years Productions on Patreon. You can also find us on Twitter at FBDPod, where we post the episodes and also updates and information in case like something comes up and we can't get an episode out. So for information, that's the best place to follow us.
Yes, sir.
For me, you can find me, Brooks Vernon, on Twitter at Squeezy McCheesy. That is where I'm most active. You can also find me like on other social media stuff, but like that stuff is more geared towards my friends, like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and stuff like that. So the best place for you to follow me is on Twitter. It's also where I'm most active and everything. So like that's where the most engagement will be.
The best place to find me is Instagram. Just look up my name, JB Yaskovich, Yaskovich, and that's about it.
Where can people find you, Bradley?
Well, I'm not interesting, so they shouldn't try. But if they wanted to,
Don't
for
be like
some
that.
reason,
Well, we could just say your address, your zip code, and where you live, and your phone
Okay.
number.
And your social
It's your
security
social
number.
security
and
number.
my mom's maiden name.
Yeah, and your pin number too. We kind of need that.
And your first pet.
And your first pet, and where you grew, the street you grew up on,
The first person you loved.
the first person who broke your heart, your first death, your first murder.
My most recent one.
Oh
Not my first.
no!
A one paragraph description of the first time you realized you're gonna die someday.
And a sultry nude photo of yourself.
Oh boy.
I know you got plenty of those. Don't you fucking lie on that one.
Yeah, and if you want to find those sultry pictures, you can follow me on Twitter at I am the bride man.
Yeah.
The bride
I
man.
have- I am the brad man.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
bride
start.
man. They said bride man.
Oh no.
I'm gonna start doing the thing that I'm doing for Josh and Zach, which is when I see tweets that are interesting and you guys would either find funny or actually like be interested in, I'm going to send them directly to you because there's an option on Twitter as a way to try to spur you guys to use Twitter more because I need more of my friends on Twitter.
He does that.
I need them to understand.
I don't want
understand
that.
my pain and my joy.
I just, when I come to the show, I just turn off my brain. I'm like, it'll be done in an hour. It's just like sex in a bad relationship. You just do it and then you go to bed. It's
Like-
all right.
Like literally Twitter has ruined the way that my brain works. I need someone
Yeah.
else. I need someone else to be on the same frequency as me.
No, I'm good.
I mean, you can look through the whole long catalog of all the tweets that I sent out. It's zero.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
have none.
You have not tweeted.
But I got some brewing. So look out.
Got some
for
good
that.
material coming
got
out.
some good jokes for one line.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
the next funny Twitter sensation.
Oh man, that's not gonna
Or
happen.
turn out to be racist.
Oh, what if it's both?
Then
it's
sweet.
like
You're gonna,
sort of okay.
you're gonna give a lot of people a lot of conflicted feelings.
Yeah. You're going to get a show and then have it taken away.
And then rebooted with the entire cast except me.
Yeah.
And have basically all this money handed to you just as long as you don't say racist things and yet still do that.
Netflix.
Okay,
God
I
bless
think
America.
that's I think that's enough for
I hope
today.
your dad listens to today's episode.
He will.
He's a regular listen.
Yeah, he's a regular
He'll listen.
listener.
Yeah, your daddy.
All right, so that's gonna be it for us today.
Big
we're
old
gonna
Ray.
so we're gonna say bye to
Big
everyone.
Big arms. Those beautiful, beautiful eyes. You can just get lost in.
See ya.
Bye, Ray.
Bye, Ray.
Bye, Dad.